Hey folks, so in this lecture we're going to be going over an example problem of marginal utility and what that looks like in relation to total utility as you're consuming a product. So the basic idea here is your total utility is the overall satisfaction you have from consuming a good or service as you add up each individual unit of that good or service that you've consumed. Marginal utility, just like marginal revenue, is the difference in total utility that you have as you consume more and more of a good. So I like to always introduce this with my wife's favorite food, and that is nachos. And this is a true story. This is how she always consumes nachos. Now, when we do this, we are going to graph it out as I tell this story. So we create our graph. Let's have utility on the y-axis, and that's measured in utils. Utils is a made-up. It's a made-up unit where basically it's just sort of an imaginary satisfaction you get from consuming something, and quantity is going to be on the x. So this is going to be like servings of nachos. So imagine a giant plate of nachos and a small plateful being a serving. So we are going to chart my wife's love of nachos once we go to a restaurant for her to consume nachos. Now, of course, when we go, we also order a dinner, tacos um, or enchiladas or something along those lines is normally what she gets. So if we're doing this, we have to recall that she is going to want to get to dinner. She is going to want to eat dinner after she's done with her nachos, which are her favorite food. So I said that nachos are her favorite food. So let's say after her first unit, her first serving of nachos, she would rank that really, really high. She'd say that that gave her a lot of satisfaction. She was very excited to eat those nachos. That craving is now somewhat abated. So she's going to rank that at about, let's say, 20. So she still has plenty of hunger left. She's going to go for her second serving of nachos. And in her second serving of nachos, it's good, but it's not the same level because she hasn't been waiting and thinking about these nachos. She's already had a serving. So her second one, it's good, but it's just not the same. So let's say her second serving gets her up to 35. So you see it went up. Now her third serving, because there's still plenty of nachos there, she's going to consume more, but now she's starting to feel a little bit. It's starting to weigh on her, just how full she's getting. So it's still going to go up. She's still happy to eat them, but instead of going up by so much, it only goes up by 5. And so we are at a total utility of 40 now. Now, once she hits serving number 4, this is where it's starting to really weigh on her. And she's worried about, is she going to be able to eat her dinner? I don't know. So now the nachos are also getting a little bit colder. We're going to say that they don't make her dissatisfied, but she gains no utility there. Once she passes that threshold, if she continues eating, her 5th unit of nachos that she's eating, she's now full. She's now thinking, this is no longer good. I'm not going to be able to eat my full dinner. So it starts falling. And then her 6th one, the same sort of thing happens. And in the 7th, she ruins her entire appetite and it goes down to 0. we can look at this, and this is our total utility function. Essentially, it's always going to be a bell curve. This demonstrates something called diminishing marginal utility. The more you consume of something, the less satisfaction you receive from it. So if we're going to chart this out, if we chart out her marginal utility in conjunction with this total utility, what we'd see is that for that first unit, it would be at 20, right? Because that's where she was. Her second unit, well, that would be at 15. Her third unit would be 5. Her fourth unit would be 0. Her fifth unit would be -5, and so on and so on and so on. So there is our marginal utility curve. We see where it equals 0, where marginal utility equals 0, is where our total utility has maxed out. Marginal utility will be a downward sloping function as it demonstrates diminishing marginal utility. And as it goes negative, that's when your total utility will start its downward slope. So that is just a basic introduction to total utility, marginal utility, and the concept of diminishing marginal utility.